Welcome to Brawlhalla!
Hello everybody and welcome back to another training room tutorial video. This one is going to be on stats, and once again I am your host Raven from Blue Mammoth Games. Now to go over stats, we are going to just be staying in the character select mode, but since we're doing it in training, I'm still going to count it. Now as you can see, when you select a legend, down in the bottom left on their platform, you are going to see a number of stats spread throughout. Now, these stats are a little bit behind the scenes and are somewhat confusing to new players, so I'm going to go ahead and explain each one of them quickly. And for this particular one, we'll be talking about, let's figure out someone who's got a crazy stat spread. Let's go with Brawlhalla. Alright, so the first stat at the top, which is the little icon with the sword, is going to be your strength stat. Strength affects how much damage you do with every hit and how far back players are sent with the force of your attacks. So the higher your strength value, you're going to do slightly more damage than characters with lower strength, and you're going to do more force, which is what we call the amount of knockback that someone receives, depending on your strength amount. So if you're curious, the character with the highest strength in the game is Scarlet at 8. All of our stats top out at 8. You're never going to find a legend that has more than 8 in any one particular stat, and it's never going to go lower than 3, which is just kind of for mechanics reasons. So going back to Brawlhalla, let's look at the next stat. The little sword with the wave above it kind of indicating some motion, that is your Dexterity stat. Dexterity affects how much recovery time you have on attacks. Now usually the difference between a legend that has really high dex and really low dex is only a couple of frames, but after you've played Brawlhalla for a little while, you're going to notice that high dex characters just seem to be able to attack slightly faster than low dex characters. So that's what the Dexterity stat affects. In case you're curious, both Cassidy and Vrax have 8 Dexterity apiece, and both of them are going to be slightly faster in their ability to string together different attacks. Now this doesn't affect your ability to land most combos in the game, but they will feel slightly faster if you like to play more of a rush down aggro type of style. Next up we have armor. Brawlhalla has some of the highest armor in the game at 8, so he has maxed out his armor stat. What armor does is it prevents damage slightly, so you're going to take slightly reduced damage, and you are also going to be able to withstand more hits before you are knocked off the map. So the amount of force applied to you is going to be less than a character with low armor. So Brawlhalla has a little bit more staying power than a legend that has 4 or 5 armor. And finally, our last stat is going to be move speed. So that's the little running man down there at the bottom. So this just straight up affects how quickly, how much your top velocity is when you are moving. So characters who have slower move speed aren't going to be able to run across the map as quickly as a character, let's say like Hattori, everyone's favorite ninja, who has 8 move speed. Now, all of these stats in combination are going to affect the particular way that a character feels and the way that they play in a very nuanced way. What we've done is we make sure that every legend has exactly 22 stat points and that they are spread across in different ways that kind of match the flavor of the character. So Hattori, she's a very fast and dexterous ninja character. Our samurai has incredibly high dexterity but slower move speed and lower attack strength. You know, our skeleton, Azoth, he has a lot of attack strength and a lot of armor, but he's a little bit on the slower side. And this is kind of how we've decided to apply a little bit more flavor to each one of the legends and also affect their play in a very nuanced way. So if you are brand new to Brawlhalla, these stat differences aren't going to be very apparent to you at first, but the more that you play and the more comfortable you get on different legends, you're going to see just how much these stats affect different legends, and they may actually influence who you decide to play in the long run based on what type of play style that you have. So that's the basic breakdown of how stats work in Brawlhalla. I hope this was a quick and easy to understand explanation for you. If you have more questions for us about stats or about other things, make sure that you hit us up on Twitter. Go hit up the community on the subreddit that we have at reddit.com/r/Brawlhalla, or, you know, leave a comment below and, you know, I'll try to respond to anybody who's got some good questions. Again, if you have more ideas for what type of topics we should cover in these training room tutorial videos, feel free to hit us up in the same channels. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.